So be it, Jedi.
What's going on, guys? Back in another video, another episode of Read It or Skip It. Today we're going to be going over Book 3 of the Republic Commando series by Karen Travis, titled True Colors. Before I get started, if you haven't seen the review of Books 1 and 2 of the series, definitely recommend you do so, or you really ain't going to know what's going on. That being said, as I mentioned in my last video, I enjoyed this book more. Starting off, our opening scene is Delta Squad is on Magito with Waylon Val, and they're helping him break into essentially his family's bank. So he's going to rob them blind, steal a fortune, and later on in the story, we find out what that fortune's actually for. During this attempted robbery, he gets stuck. Scarada and Ordo go to Magito to try to save him. Sev of Delta Squad is tore up over this because their whole life they were just drilled to be perfect, and he feels like he let them down, and he's kind of feeling pretty terrible about it. Omega Squad is on the planet Gaftikar or Graftikar, something like that, and they're helping the local reptilian lizard people pretty much rise up against the CIS-backed humans that run the city. Now, the plot of this little story they've got going on is to help convey the clones' disillusionment with the war. They're starting to realize that none of this is really making a whole lot of sense. They're being spread thin. They're just fighting battles over and over again, and ultimately it just really gets them nowhere. It's almost as if they're taking one step forward and two steps back. So a lot of the clones, especially the clones we see in Delta Squad and Omega Squad, are starting to realize something fishy is going on here. Another one of their objectives on planet is they're also looking for ARC Trooper A30. He is considered MIA, and if they run across him while they're conducting their mission, good. If not, oh well. Ultimately, they end up running across him, and he's essentially just gone AWOL. He's left. Do you want to know what the GAR does to ARC Troopers that go AWOL and desert? That's right. They send more clones after him to kill him. So this further adds to their disillusionment. They start to think, could I really kill my own brother? Could I really be told to kill another clone and carry it out? And it just, as I said, adds to the further plot that these clones are starting to realize everything isn't as it should be. I would say the main plot of this book is Scarada is looking for Kosai, the head Kaminoan scientist, because he wants to give these clones a normal life. As you already know, the clones were bred and designed to age fast. So all of the clones we see throughout the Clone Wars are roughly 10 to 12 years old. The issue with that is, well, they're only going to live half a life. For every year they age essentially 2 years. So Scarada loves his boys, as we already know, and he wants to find Kosai and make her figure out a way to stop these clones from aging so fast. So Scarada, Ordo, Val, all go after this crazy scavenger hunt looking for Kosai. Meanwhile, Etain, yeah, it's easy to forget about Etain. She's like the worst part of these books. Etain is still on Kalura, hiding her pregnancy essentially. Darman still doesn't know. She's there to help get rid of the humans that they work out some deal with, like the local shape-shifting Gorlandans, and they wanted the humans there gone, so that's why she's there. It's kind of like a little subplot, but it's pretty much just to keep her away from the Jedi Order, away from Darman. Chancellor Palpatine commissions Delta Squad to find Kosai. So you've got Scarada looking for Kosai for his own reasons. Then you've got Delta Squad, who is, as I said, it's kind of adjacent to Omega Squad. Omega Squad was trained by Scarada, and they're pretty much our main characters. And then you have Delta Squad, which are kind of the good guys, but they're very jaded towards Omega Squad. They kind of do their own thing, and they're very more by the book, and essentially they're brainwashed. So they're looking for Kosai. Scarada's looking for Kosai. Jusik, Barden Jusik, the Jedi Knight, who is a lot more of a character in this book, is leading Delta Squad. Meanwhile, he's working with Scarada to try to keep Delta Squad off their tail, because you can't just say, hey, I'm looking for Kosai, and the Chancellor will be okay with it. He has his own means as to why he wants her. Which leads us into another big plot point in this book, and that is Bethany Winnan, who is like a audit agent who works for like the Treasury. It's kind of like mixed into this group of, Scarada and his boys. her and Ordo are kind of a thing, and she's looking into the budget, essentially where the money's going, and nothing's adding up. She can't find any paper trails that lead to, where is everything coming from, who paid for the clones. It's just not making sense. But she does uncover a potential cloning operation on one of Coruscant's moons. And at this point, the Republic has outlawed cloning. Kaminoans aren't cloning anymore. There aren't any more clone troopers being commissioned. At this point, cloning any sentient race is considered illegal by galactic law. So everybody starts to scratch their head. This doesn't make any sense. Is Palpatine creating a backup clone army? Is he making reinforcements? And as we'll find out later, that's not what happens at all. So Scarada and Ordo ultimately catch up with Kosai, kidnap her, bring her back to Mandalore, and that's pretty much where he's planning for all the clones that want to leave to end up. He has like this nest egg, you could say, of money taken from Wayland Vow's family bank, and what he wants to do is get any clone who doesn't want to fight, who wants to be done with this war, get them out. They have a safe haven on Mandalore. That's pretty much the setup in this book. He gets her, takes her back to Mandalore, tells her what's up. I need you to do this for me, and if you don't, I'm gonna kill you, pretty much, because he hates Kaminoans for what he did to the clone, what they did to the clones, how they treated them. Meanwhile, Etain rendezvous with everyone. Kosai finds out that Etain's pregnant with a clone. So they use the potential idea of, hey, if you do this when my baby's born, you can have some of his DNA, because you would assume that a Kaminoan would be completely enthralled by the idea of a Force-sensitive clone, or what would happen if a clone and a Jedi were to conceive. So that's kind of what they use as leverage against her. Touching base with Omega Squad on Gaftakar, they have taken the rogue ARC trooper, I think his name's Sol, and trying to figure out what they're going to do with him. They're brothers. They know if they send him back to military HQ, pretty much, that he's going to be killed, because they've already proven that rogue clones are going to be hunted down and killed. So they decide to let him go on his way. Some of them don't really agree with it. Some of them do. As I said, it just adds to the further plot that, this is your brother you're serving with. Are you going to let him desert? Are you going to be okay with that? Or are you going to turn him in and gun him down if he does? Good question. On their mission on the planet, Phi, one of the members of Omega Squad, gets badly injured to the point where he is pretty much a vegetable. So he gets taken off planet. Everyone gets off planet. He gets sent back to Coruscant. Well, they come to find out that if a clone is considered too badly injured to be healed, they just kill him. They put him down like dogs, like animals. So of course, no one is okay with this. He's taken back to Coruscant, and it's actually Bethany Winnan that breaks him out of the hospital. And at this point, he's essentially considered KIA. He's not part of the military anymore. He's taken back to Mandalore to sort of rest up, and Barton Jussic is using the Force to try to heal his mind, and he's making progress, but he doesn't think he'll ever be the same as he was before. To wrap everything up, Etain gives birth to her baby. Kosai gets a little bit of the DNA and sort of extrapolates what she wants to out of it, and then she kills herself. She feels that her life is fulfilled, and that leaves them with no way to further the clones' lives. Meanwhile, Scarada takes and gives her head to Delta Squad and says, hey, give this to Arligan Zay, the leader of Special Forces, and just to pacify him. So nobody really knows what's going on. Scarada and his boys, the clones, are sort of stepping away from the army. They're sort of delving back into their Mandalorian roots. Delta Squad, who is very, I would say, conditioned and programmed by the Republic, starts to feel leery of them, but they ultimately come to the conclusion that, I'm kind of glad they're on our side. Very plot-heavy story. There's a lot going on. As I said, I liked it better than the last book. I just finished the fourth book, Order 66, which we'll be talking about next week. It was good setup. There was a lot of, plot threads that kind of paralleled one another. It was good seeing how the clones are starting to realize that the Republic doesn't give a shit about them. They're not even property. They don't have any rights. So as I said, I really enjoyed this book. Looking forward to wrapping it up. To be honest, I'm at the point now where I'm in a series and everything's kind of mixing together. I'm kind of getting confused as to what happened in what book and vice versa. So needless to say, I'm ready to finish up the last book, 501st, and be done with it. As always, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video. We'll be going over book 4, Order 66. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hope I see you on the next one.